Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Tuesday, February 27th, presented by Boston Hemp Inc. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and our Tuesday guy, Matt Robinson, with you once again, ready to break down the Tuesday card. It is a huge 12-game slate on this Tuesday. We'll get to that in a moment. We'll also do a brief recap. I do, though, have a bit of, I guess you could say, some sad news to report here on the show today. It's going to be Matt's last show, actually, on the Ice Guys today here for this for us, and we've loved having him. But what we found out, unfortunately, is NHL betting's just of no use to him right now because he's killing it with this Keno machine. You know, at the local casino there in Regis. What the fuck does he need NHL betting for? He's just ripping it apart there with the Keno machines locally. I'm kidding, of course. But yeah, Matt, I mean, unbelievable. I had you there for a minute. I saw that face of yours. You're like, what the hell is this guy talking about?
I was like, what happened? Did I do something on the last show? I was like, damn, am I getting fired from the show? But no, yeah, it's been quite a run. And what's awesome is connected to this show is I actually use the same 6 numbers, and it's 6 Dallas Stars players' numbers. You need a reason to pick random numbers. So that's what I always went with. And since last Sunday, I've gone 3 times, and I've hit a 6 for 6 bonus on the same 6 numbers all 3 times. So, yeah, it's been quite a little run for sure. So,
as Matt's heart rate starts to come down a little bit after what just happened. Yeah, I said I'm doing this. I'm trying to pull everyone's leg here early to start the show, but because Matt was we were having this little group DM, and this is now like multiple nights. He's gone down the street to his casino there in Reno, and he's had this like 4-figure win at the Keno machine. The Keno slots there. And like I say, so what the hell does he need NHL betting for? He's raking in the cash in other means right now. But I have a feeling, Matt, that that's not necessarily the case. You're more than happy to keep trying your luck at the NHL board on a daily basis, right?
Yeah, no doubt. It's been a nice little hit, but with Keno, I mean, it's literally a coin toss. So the luck will end here soon. So I need the NHL betting where I actually have some thought going into it, as opposed to me just hitting a button and hoping for the best. So I'm glad to still be a part of the show.
as we talked about in our DM, I had family members who played Keno a lot. My grandma, my dad, every time he'd go to Vegas, and they both would say it's a game of runs. So you're on a hot run right now. Keep it rolling as long as you can with that.
There we go.
No doubt.
No doubt. No, that's good. No, I've never fired anyone on this show. They've left me. They've left Alex and I. We haven't gotten rid of them.
Well, one was kind of debatable, but but no, we really haven't fired anybody.
No, exactly. They left us when you're talking about your Danas and your Andrews of the past. They're still Ice Guys in our book. Yeah, honestly. They always will be. Exactly. Yeah, and no doubt about it. And Jimmy left us on a full-time basis for his, and he's doing his own podcast with Pierre now. It is writing, but we still have him on, of course, every Friday. So we still have yet to fire anybody that's been on this show on a regular basis. And I'm sure a few people thought it may be about to happen, but no, clearly not going to happen. Matt's our guy. It's been great having him on this show and part of this community. And speaking of the community, guys, before we get into recap, we'll be quick with the recap because we got just a ton of games to talk about here on this Tuesday. But we want to mention this betcast. And after all this time, I think we've talked about the betcast now on a few shows that we're having it tonight. There's still some lack of clarity that people still think this might be Patreon only. No, it is a live, free-for-all betcast. Public. Everyone is invited. Everyone. You do not have to be a Patreon member. Again, for the 1,000th time, you do not have to be a Patreon member to be part of this betcast tonight. So looking forward to it. And like I say, it's going to be a little bit more scarce as far as the betcasts are concerned in March because of the NCAA tournament. Busy month, lots going on, at least for me from a handicapping standpoint with that. So we made up for it in February with a ton of betcasts. This is our 4th betcast of the month. and 2 on Patreon. And now this is going to be our second free-for-all betcast. So shout out to everyone there. Join in. Tune in for the betcast tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. DM or email for a spot on the betcast, and we'll send you the link before it begins. Melissa Cunningham, who's in Vegas, she planned weeks ago to be on this betcast, but she forgot that she's traveling to Vegas for work, but she's still going to be on for a little bit. She's going to try to get a connection there from her hotel and join us. We haven't seen Melissa for a while. A lot of the usual suspects will be there. Us three. It'll be Rich, I'm sure. It'll be Goose, I'm sure, will pop up tonight as well. So it'll be a lot of fun here on the betcast. Looking forward to it. And again, 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, and it's a great NHL slate. So looking forward to the betcast tonight here on this Tuesday. All right, let's get into the Monday slate just quickly on what we saw last night. It starts with, dead ass wrong for me with Ottawa. Man, what an atrocious first period defensively from them. They just ended up just getting shellacked, taken apart. Power play for Washington did damage. They didn't have a good penalty kill last night. 2 of the first 3 Washington goals scored with the power play. And they jumped out to a 4-2 lead after the first period. It was a crazy first period. And then they got up 6-3 at the end of the second and put it on cruise control from there. But credit to the Capitals. Nice win there, 6-3 last night over the Ottawa Senators in that game, ending the little hot streak for the Sens. As now they're back in action tonight. Both teams, actually. Washington in Detroit, Ottawa in Nashville. The Islanders 3-2 win over the Dallas Stars. We said this was just an awful spot, and we'll get Matt's thoughts on this. And I said this yesterday. If I'm Matt or if I'm any Dallas Stars fan, I'm fucking pissed at the makers for putting us through this. We go on this long ass road trip. We've been traveling to the next city for every single game since February 6th. It's been road games, 1 home game. Road games, 1 home game, and now they're traveling again tonight, back-to-back against Colorado, and it's going to add up at some point. And you can tell not their best effort, although I will say in the third period, they had a million chances to go up in that game 2-2. They were swarming the Islanders, but the Islanders held the fort defensively, and next thing you know, gets that game to overtime, and the Islanders win 3-2. That was a pretty solid game for me with the team total on the Islanders, the draw, of course, for Alex and I hitting there at a nice plus 370. The Islanders with the 3-2 win there against Dallas. Like I said, just a dubious spot off the road, big games on the road, including the Carolina win, sandwiched in between the Colorado showdown tonight. And the Islanders definitely capitalized on that. Edmonton, credit to them, 4-2. They beat the LA Kings. Great third period. That game was there for the taking. That was as good a defensive period as they've had in quite some time. It was as good a period that Skinner has had in a long time for the Oilers in net. Stuart Skinner had a great third period, and the Oilers end up with a much-needed calming the waters 4-2 victory over the Los Angeles Kings to get themselves back on track in that game. And then Boston-Seattle, probably the game of the night. It was fantastic. I mean, the action was exceptional. A lot of chances back. I thought the goaltending from both Linus Ullmark and the winning goaltender, Philip Grubauer, was terrific in that game, and a 4-3 shootout win for Seattle. It had goals taken off the board. Alex and I get another draw to come through. We were sweating that one out, but we got it as the Bruins and Kraken go to OT, and then Seattle. And what an overtime, by the way. Oh, the chances were there. It was end-to-end action. Great saves on both ends. And, of course, Grubauer stoned up DeBrusk on a breakaway in overtime as well. And don't look now, guys, but Philip Grubauer, very quietly since he's returned from injury, 3-0 with like a 1.46 goals against average and an over 9, like a 930 save percentage. So this is very good news for the Seattle Kraken because as well as Joey Decord's playing, you still need Philip Grubauer to get that form back. And he has looked very good since he's been back here for the Seattle Kraken in net. And he played a very good game last night for them in the victory, a much-needed one as they chase down a wild card spot in the Western Conference. Alex, your thoughts on the 4 games that we saw on Monday night?
Well, obviously the highlight for us is, like I said, Boston, Seattle, being able to cash in, one leg of the bargain bin with the Vince Dunn goal, the over 5.5 coming through. Charlie Coyle ended up getting a goal credited to him. So we had another bargain bin winner as well. We had did come short in the first period over in the both teams to score. The pace was there throughout, though. I mean, this game was perfect. And like I said, I've had that feeling that it would go past regulation, but go all the way to a shootout. And it did. It was an exciting overtime and a very exciting shootout as well. Kyle Yamamoto with a highlight reel goal Just a fantastic game, and that's what draw season is all about. Two teams, different conferences, they got their own shit they got to deal with, but they clash together and make for an exciting contest. And there's a few spots that line up like that tonight within the draw season parameters. Definitely looking forward to kind of getting at those.
Yeah, from the looks of things, Alex has like a whole menu, of draw bets that he has circled for this Tuesday card. So looking forward to hearing a bunch about what those spots look to be. Matt, we'll get your thoughts. I know you'll talk Dallas Stars. I was remiss to not mention it earlier. Logan Stankoven, congratulations to him. First NHL goal on his birthday. He got an assist on the other Dallas goal last night as well, a 2-point night for him. So congratulations to him. And he's just another good young forward in this Dallas Stars rotation. I remember watching that kid play for Canada at the World Juniors. He was one of their best forwards. So Logan Stankoven, I think, is going to have a very nice career. Matt, what did you think of last night?
Yeah, so the Stars game and that Boston-Seattle game are really the only two that I got to watch. Obviously, Alex went into Boston-Seattle. It was very back and forth, and then ends with a shootout. Obviously an exciting game. As far as the Stars game went, obviously I felt the same. I felt like they definitely had chances to win in the third period. You hate to see them drop a game to, not that the Islanders are a bottom team, but definitely an inferior opponent. And they're definitely going to have their work cut out for them tonight in Colorado. As you mentioned, the schedule has been really shitty for them. I want to say it's 6 games in 9 days, including 4 top 10 teams. So just an unfortunate time in the schedule. But I know I have read that in March and April they've got one of the easier schedules left. They've got a couple games against the Coyotes, and I think they play the Blackhawks one more time. But they have an easier schedule in the end, so it's just one of those tough breaks. But I don't know. I know tonight everyone's going to be on Colorado, and rightfully so. The one stat that's kind of given me some optimism on maybe Dallas pulls it out is Jake Ottinger's up for his 100th win. Which what better place to do it than in Colorado? So I know he'll be ready to play. I think the Stars overall are going to have some leg issues, but just going back to back and being in the altitude. But yeah, we'll see. Obviously excited for the betcast tonight. We'll be able to tune into it. It is one of the later games, so we'll kind of get some games in and then kind of ease into that game. But yeah, wish it was a better spot. Wish, both teams were coming in, on a even playing field, if you will, as even as you can be in the altitude. But it is what it is. Every team goes through back-to-back, so you got to find a way to win.
Yeah, there's no question. It's going to be interesting. IceX, why do you do that, man? Have confidence in your plays, man. Matt's talking. Dallas has a chance tonight. IceX is marking Avs puck line's a loser already. So there we go.
It could.
We were also talking about puck lines in the chat too. So that's probably my sense.
Yeah.
IceX does love to. Anytime Dallas plays anyone, when they played Boston, it was Boston -1.5. When it was New York, it was New York -1.5. Which are 2 games that Dallas honestly should have won. So, and I don't think either. I guess the New York puck line did cash, but Boston didn't. So,
yeah. Now I know there's some people that when they watch this show, they've talked about how they've sometimes watched portions of it. They skip certain portions. So just to clarify, everyone, Matt Robinson is not quitting hockey betting for Keno. Okay, this is just supplemental income for him. This is just a little extra. This is extra. This is on top of betting NHL on a regular basis, and he is still part of our show, of course. I don't want anyone to get confused about that. All right, let's get into the Tuesday NHL card. We've got a huge slate coming up. This is a great slate. And we said this weeks ago when we planned out this night as a betcast night that this was going to be a poppin'. The NHL slate is popping tonight. There's great games. There's only one game on the entire slate where it's 2 teams playing for exercise. Okay, that's it. The rest of the slate, there's one of the 2 teams, if not both teams, are playing for something. So that's what makes this slate very exciting. It's Tampa Bay, Philadelphia to get us going. Tampa Bay -130, -135 road favorites. 6 the total here, shaded to the over in this game. You've got the Tampa Bay Lightning. We have talked all season about their road issues, but they did get back-to-back road wins over the weekend. against the New York Islanders and the New Jersey Devils, 4-2 and 4-1. Is that a sign that they're maybe about to put a little bit of a run together? We'll see. Meanwhile, you had Philadelphia also play a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back over the weekend, and they lost both games to the New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Of course, a tough 2-1 loss to the Rangers and a pretty tough 7-6 loss to Pittsburgh, considering they got enough offense. But if anyone watched that game, it was an awful day for Cal Peterson. Absolutely brutal. There were 3 goals at least he probably should have stopped. Now, some of them he didn't have a chance, but 3 of the 7, clearly, I think, an above-average NHL goalie makes that save, and Cal Peterson was not able to do that for the Philadelphia Flyers. So obviously you've got Tampa Bay surging just a little bit. Flyers a little slump over the weekend, there's no doubt, and I think the bettors see that. They bet Tampa Bay, Vasilevsky in net for the Lightning confirmed. Of course, Samuel Ersson back in net, and he might get the net quite a bit moving forward, because after what Torts and the Flyers saw from Cal Peterson, I'd be kind of petrified putting him in the very next time that is. We'll see about that. As far as the injuries, there are some concerns there for Philly. Travis Konechny remains out. He's missed the last few. He is not back tonight. And then, of course, the injury that was suffered by Jamie Drysdale in the Pittsburgh game. You could tell it was his shoulder, maybe a separation, something like that, the same shoulder that he got injured last season as well in 22-23, and only played 8 games because of that. So you got to be concerned if you're the Flyers for this young kid, Jamie Drysdale, who has the potential to be a great defenseman in this league. Right now, the Flyers say it's week to week. They're not ready to go beyond that. They're not ready to rule him out for the rest of the season, but definitely that is a bit of a unfortunate loss here for the Philadelphia Flyers. Does hurt their blue line just a little bit. Looks like tonight on the back end with his absence, we'll see Cam York, who's played great. Torts loves Cam York. He'll get more of an opportunity with Sanheim. Nick Seeler, Sean Walker, who's, by the way, in some trade rumblings right now. Mark Stahl and Igor Zamula are going to round out the blue line here tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers. I don't know. All this love for Tampa Bay, get that out of here, in my opinion. I'm going to take a shot with Philadelphia here, plus 115. I like this situation. We're buying low on a team off 2 frustrating losses, and let's really put Tampa Bay's wins in perspective over the weekend. You beat an Islanders team that is completely and utterly erratic. They won last night more because that was such a brutal spot for Dallas more than anything, and they got Wedgwood in net, not Ottinger. Keep that in mind. And then the other win against New Jersey. New Jersey's fallen apart right before our very eyes. So let's not act like everything is so great right now for the Tampa Bay Lightning now that everything's back on track. They beat a Islanders team that's just inconsistent as all hell, and a Devils team that has completely fallen off the rails right now. Back-to-back terrible games from them. Well, Washington game was bad. The Tampa game was bad. The Montreal game they did win, but barely, and they were trailing for much of that game. So I think it's just too much is being made of, wow, things are really great again for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's see tonight if they are. For me, it's Flyers and draw split if I'm betting this one. What do you think here, Alex? Lightning Flyers.
Yeah, right there with you on the dog and draw split. A little heavier on the draw here because these two teams need their points. Also liking some first period. Looks like the first period over 1.5, minus 128, and both teams to score in the first at plus 172. This is a game I don't like the full game over because I could see goals early. Maybe we get a 1-1 or even a 2-2 first period, and things can just start slowing down. Like I said, these are two teams that need points, and we saw it last night. No, look no further than that Boston and Seattle game. We saw that 3-3 score. Those last 8 minutes, a lot of just skating around and not many real quality high danger chances. You see that trend more and more where the offense dries up as soon as the game gets tied, anywhere within 10 minutes, 5 minutes left and into the third period. I expect to see that here with the Lightning and Flyers.
If Alex agrees, Flyers and draw split. Maddie, what do you think here? Tampa, Philly.
Yeah, I'm also on Philly in this game. I think they're showing that they're staying in games against good teams, and I just can't take a Tampa team on the road right now. And I am also going to be on the first period over. And then you guys have talked me into it. I'm going to sprinkle a little on the draw pregame, and then we'll see what it looks like live tonight, obviously. But yeah, I think the Flyers at home, I think they're due for a win. They played well in that last game, I believe on Sunday. And so I think they eke this one out. And so at plus money, definitely love the dog here.
All right, there we go. Liking the dog, and also liking the first period over here, Matt, with the Flyers and the Lightning. They're starting to trend a little bit to the first period over again. Tampa Bay here in these last few games. I know the games over the weekend for them. The Islanders game was a first period over. The New Jersey game wasn't, but the first period over in the Islander game was. So I don't mind that look either. First period, at least over the total. The one concern here is, John Tortorella is the coach. What he's going to demand after a 7-6 loss, defensive accountability. There is no question about that. Now, a lot of that was bad goaltending, but still, he's going to want to see his own team clean that shit up big time after what we saw that night. No question about that. All right, next up, we've got the Vegas Golden Knights and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Didn't these two teams just play each other? Oh, yeah, they did last week in Vegas. They've been doing this a lot this year, especially with the East versus West teams. They've been playing them twice in the same week, home and home. So this is the case here. Now, this time it's Vegas on their road trip, catching Toronto off this incredible road trip. There, everything went right for them. It was an unbelievable job by the Leafs. Can they withstand prosperity, and can they stand up to what is typically and historically, not only for them but for a lot of teams, a brutal spot? Home off a very long, successful road trip. -165 for Toronto, home favorites. The total here 6.5, shaded to the under in this game. I'm tempted by Vegas in the first period. I don't know if for the full game they'll hang in there, because this is a team that's struggling right now. But even with Toronto's great form right now, that first period money line, I'm probably going to sprinkle on that from a Vegas standpoint. Come out strong. This is a team that they're facing in Toronto that went into Vegas and pummeled the Golden Knights, jumped on them in the first period of that game last Thursday. And it was over really after the opening period. Last Thursday in Vegas, in that 7-3 victory for the Leafs. It was 4-0 Toronto after the opening period. It was one of the best periods of hockey the Leafs have played all season long. No question about that. So I think in the first period, that very first 20 minutes after the road trip back home, maybe a little bit of a lax start for the Leafs. Vegas, obviously, not only desperation, urgency, trying to snap this losing streak of theirs, which is now at 3 games in a row. The home losses to Nashville and Toronto, and then the shootout loss at Ottawa over the weekend. They're also now just 1-5 in their last 6 games. So there's no doubt Vegas is going to want to have a strong start. But I don't know if I trust them for the full 60, because for the full 60, the team in better form right now is Toronto. And Toronto has shown the comeback ability lately. Let's not forget the Colorado game, down 2-0 in the first period of that game on the road. Saturday night, they come back and they win 4-3. So they have shown a big-time comeback ability lately, the Leafs. And why is that? It's because it's not just the Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Mitch Marner show anymore. Domi is heating up. Tyler Bertuzzi with the hat trick against Colorado. And credit to Sheldon Keefe. Sheldon Keefe gets blamed for a lot, but he doesn't get any sort of praise from these Leaf Nation fanatics when he does something well. And what he did was he put Domi and Bertuzzi together on the second line with Nylander, and that line has clicked. They have great chemistry. They're getting their offense going as a group, as a trio. And then they drop Tavares down to the third line with Robertson and Nick Robertson and Bobby McMahon in more of a checking role. And it has made a difference. And Tavares, to his credit, even as the captain, he's accepted a bottom 6 forward role, centering the third line, because they know his offense is not what it used to be. So let's give Keefe some credit for that. This is creative coaching. This is good lineup changes, and they've made a difference here for Toronto in these last few games. So, but this spot is tough. It's an angry Vegas team that got humbled by the Leafs just a few days ago in Vegas. I think the first period is a nice little situational bet for Vegas, but I'm not going more than that. Just first period. I don't trust them for the full game. I'll go with that. Total's tricky too, because Toronto, I've been riding these overs with them lately, and I certainly could go that way again here, no question. The first period overs have been very good for Vegas, so I'm still going to do the trifecta with the over, but with some trepidation, keeping it a little smaller scale with that, just because of the fact of the spot, and Vegas trying to probably tighten things up after giving up the 7 spot, but hard to argue with the fact that Vegas still kind of has been trending that way as far as the first period overs, 8-2 in their last 10 games. So for that reason, we'll do the over trifecta, both teams to score over 1.5, over 6.5. But I will be honest, this is not one of my favorite over trifectas compared to some of the ones I've had the last few days. Alex, what do you think? Golden Knights, Leafs.
So yeah, I don't like the full trifecta pregame. I like both teams to score in the first period. Grab that plus 165. I grabbed a little bit of over 1.5 minus $1.30. I'll be looking to grab some more plus money during the betcast tonight, and I'll also be looking to grab the over. If I can get that down to maybe 6 at MGM or 5.5 laying a price, I'll try and take a shot with that. But like I said, I can see where maybe we even wait possibly for the second period if this ends up being kind of a lower scoring first, which hopefully it isn't considering the looks we have pregame. But if it does end up being a lower scoring first, then we could start maybe looking the game to open up and get some 4.5s, both teams to score in the second period. So there'll be a lot more live looks in this contest than there will be pregame. Like I said, just now it's just the first period looks for pregame. The draw makes sense, obviously, if Toronto's involved, but it's not one of my favorite draws. So I have a little bit in pocket, but this won't be a heavier one. If we see the pace kind of increase to where the draw makes more sense, and we can jump in live as well.
All right, good stuff. And another reason with another part of the thinking for me with Vegas only in the first period is take a look at the Ottawa game. They did win the first period, 1-0 Golden Knights after the first period Saturday in Ottawa, but they did not win the game. They've had trouble holding leads. Toronto's been a good comeback team, but I could see this being a slow start for them. So that's why I think first period Vegas really does look like a good situational bet. And we did see Vegas cash first period against Ottawa as well. And they showed the urgency against Ottawa the other night, even though they didn't win. They're trying to snap this losing streak. They want to turn shit around, but hasn't been easy. And clearly, of course, they miss Eichel and Stone up front. What do you think here, Matt? Vegas, Toronto?
Yeah, as far as pregame goes, I do like the first period overlook. Don't hate the both teams to score. Might sprinkle on that as well. And then I just can't not take Toronto team total over 3.5 right now. Again, I do expect Vegas to kind of tighten things up, but I'm seeing it at like minus 110. I think that's great value as far as how Toronto's playing right now. Doesn't mean they're going to win the game. I do favor Toronto here. I'm not going to lay, minus 165 pregame, but their team total over, I like that a lot. So I'll probably be on that as well.
Yeah, how many times have we said that? Definitely over the years when it's a heavier favorite, minus 160, take the team total. It's only over 3.5, minus 110. It is a better option for sure if you like the Leafs tonight. Michael Amadio, a former. He was in the Leaf organization. He didn't really play at all for the Leafs, but he was always with the AHL team, the Marlies. But Amadio has been very good lately for Vegas. There's no doubt. They need probably a little bit more from their big guns now. Stevenson, Marchessault, Waugh, Carlson. They've all got to be really integral now moving forward with the injuries to Eichel and Stone. Not just them. It's Brett Howden. It's Dorofeev. It's Will Carrier. So they are dealing with a few issues up front. By the way, the goalie matchup, it's Adin Hill back in net for Vegas. Keep in mind, he got pulled last Thursday in Vegas when he played Toronto, and we'll see if he bounces back. And remember, it was Martin Jones that night in net for Toronto against Vegas, but it'll be, of course, Ilya Samsonov here getting the start tonight for the Leafs against the Vegas Golden Knights. So should be an interesting game given the factors involved there. All right, Washington and Detroit. We've got the Red Wings minus 165, home favorite, 6.5 the total in this game. Not really enamored to bet on either of these teams in this particular spot. Washington's on a back-to-back off a nice win last night at home against the Ottawa Senators, 6-3. It is a rest advantage for Detroit, but do you want to lay minus 165? Detroit's coming off the win of their season from an emotion standpoint, that's for sure. Everyone was charged up to see Patrick Kane make his return to the United Center in Chicago wearing that Red Wings jersey, some more than others. Mentioning Alex. But yeah, Washington, when you look at it, Kane got the job done. They won it in overtime with that fairy tale magical ending. And coming back from a win like that's not easy, especially with a Washington team that, is just plucky and feisty. And yeah, the Capitals, I keep saying this with Washington. How do they keep doing this? How do they keep winning these games like they are? But they're capitalizing. There's no question. We'll see if they can keep that rolling here tonight, taking on Detroit. Looks like for goaltending here in this game, we've got Alex Lyon already confirmed in net for the Detroit Red Wings. Not much of a surprise there. We should see Charlie Lindgren here for Washington after seeing Darcy Kemper get the start last night in the victory against Ottawa. So that's the way this one goes. This one I'm probably not doing a whole lot with. The only thing I would look at, Detroit's won 5 in a row. They're playing very, very well, but it's not exactly the spot I'm rushing to back them in here, coming off the big win that they had. Even the over, I'm pumping the brakes on it because, we've seen pretty heavy under series history with these two teams, 6-2 to the under, in fact, in the last 8 meetings between the Capitals and the Red Wings, and both of them do have very capable netminders. Lions been pretty solid more often than not, and obviously the Capitals and Lindgren has given them. He was struggling for a bit, but you look at Lindgren the last 2 starts. The Florida game, I thought he played pretty well, and then he was very solid in a couple of those games last week. I think he got the games as well versus Tampa and New Jersey last week. Both of them Washington victories, and he played quite well. 8 goals allowed in his last 3 starts, so pretty good numbers and a little bit of a turnaround here for Lindgren after a little bit of a rough stretch. So I do think the draw could get there. I might sprinkle on that because if you do look, Detroit's played a lot of overtime lately. 3 of the last 4 games for them have gone past regulation. So I might get there with the draw. Not a whole lot other than that. What do you think here, Alex? Capitals, Red Wings.
Yeah, this is one of the first draw plays I made this morning. I grabbed a little bit of 350 at Bet Online, and I saw even a little better price, 370 at FanDuel. So I got pieces at each. Like I said, this is a draw season kind of a game, and Washington finding ways to win, finding ways to hang on in games. Detroit, same kind of scrappy mentality, hanging on and trying to get as many points as possible. So this feels like it could be one of those kind of games. I'm not sure where the pace and tempo will be. We'll be on the BetCast Live, so we can kind of watch for that. But I like the draw here. I think that's good value in that. And give me Sir Patrick Kane to score a goal. He's not in the bargain bin range. It's just as high as plus 210 at FanDuel. But I'll take a shot with that as well.
You got to ride with it. Now, I'm worried about a little emotional hangover for Patty Kane, number 88 here tonight after the shit, but he's red hot. He's on. He's scalding hot.
When he's on fire, he's on fire. And if there's one guy that can kind of get past the emotional events and play through it, it's number 88.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the only reason you're not betting Patrick Kane props tonight is you're worried about an emotional letdown. Right. But to me, you can't just go by that. I think he's just producing way too much right now to just buy into that fully. He has been red hot, and like you say, we've seen this guy's career now for almost 18 years. When he gets on one of these hot streaks, look out, it could continue for a long time. And for Patrick Kane, his last 7 games, we're talking about 5 goals and points in. He's on a 8 game point streak now, and he's had multi-point games now 2 in a row as well. So this is, I'd say, try it. Try a goal, assist prop, and try over 1.5 points tonight with Patrick Kane. I think you got a chance to go at least 2-1 or better with that here tonight, looking in his direction as far as that's concerned. I like Anthony Mantha for the Washington Capitals against his old team. I think that's not only a great angle, the team that traded him away, but also you've got Anthony Mantha that is playing very well right this season. You got to credit Spencer Carberry's coaching for that. What is he getting out of Anthony Mantha this year that, Todd Reardon and even Peter Laviolette and some of these other coaches that have been there in Washington that they haven't gotten from him? But he has played a lot better for Washington against his old team that traded him away. I think he's probably worth a look here in this. I've mentioned Tom Wilson on the top line. And that whole line, Mantha is with 2 guys that actually have been scoring a bit lately for the Capitals, and Connor McMichael. I know some people in the chat mentioning him, and this Alexei Protas as well. But McMichael especially, he's got 5 goals in the last 5 games here for Washington. So there's suddenly some player prop value on a team that's starting to score again and get their offense at least a little bit turned around here the last few games on the Washington side of the equation tonight. What do you think in this one, Matt? Washington, Detroit.
Yeah, this is another game that I feel like there will be some good looks live. I do heavily side with Detroit here, just given Washington's on the back-to-back, and I think Detroit's been pretty hot. So I am going to, like the last game, I'm going to take Detroit team total over 3.5 pregame.
I considered that too. I did. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, at the value it's coming in at, I feel like it's worth a look. And then I completely agree with both you guys on Kane. If anyone can get through, the emotional side of it, he's a pretty cut and dry kind of guy. I know he really appreciated Chicago's welcome home, but at the same time, he's a business as usual guy. I don't see it, being a hangover from that perspective. So I'll jump on Kane anytime goal scorer and Kane over 1.5 points as well pregame. And then, I lean over here, but I'd love to get it at like a 5.5 or a 6. So this will be one that I'm looking at when we're live on the show tonight.
All right, good stuff there. It is. This is definitely one where the only thing I'm really looking at pregame is the draw, the Kane props, the props I mentioned, Mantha, McMichael, Protas for Washington, and then maybe I look at a team total for Detroit over small. But other than that, I'm keeping everything else for the BetCast tonight with this game. All right, Buffalo and Florida. This is ESPN Plus, by the way. It's an ESPN Plus doubleheader. This is exclusive to ESPN Plus. And this, by the way, the guy calling this game tonight's what I think is the closest they've got to a Gary Thorne equivalent right now. Bob Wischusen for ESPN. Sabres and Panthers. He's a great broadcaster. Sabres, Panthers, Florida minus 220. Home favorites, 6 the total here in this game tonight. This is another one where, you look, let's give Buffalo their credit, because I can count on one hand how many times they've won 3 in a row this year. But here's the Buffalo Sabres, winners of 3 straight games in a row, entering this matchup against the Florida Panthers. Road wins against Montreal and Columbus, and then a very, very solid home win against the Carolina Hurricanes in a shootout, 3-2 on Sunday. I thought that was a great win for them. They actually outplayed Carolina the longer that game went. Now, can they sustain this momentum they've got? Because this isn't good enough for them if they even want to think. And to me, it's too late. But if they even want to think about any sort of push to the playoffs, they got to keep winning. Simple as that. They can't just win 3 and think that's good enough. Not at this point. They've dug themselves too much of a hole. But can they get the job done against Florida is the big question. Now, a couple of years ago, they did win in Florida, but wins have been few and far between for the Sabres against the Panthers. Florida is 8-2 in the last 10 meetings versus the Buffalo Sabres. The goaltending for this game tonight, Buffalo looks to be rolling again with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Picked a pack of pickled peppers. He looks like he might be in net here again tonight for the Sabres. It looks like Bobrovsky confirmed in net for the Florida Panthers. Unfortunately, the other Jeff Skinner, MRI that he's going to undergo. This was suddenly out of nowhere. He played against Carolina and he got a goal against his former team. And then all of a sudden, there he was on the ice on Monday, and he left the ice surface. And next thing you know, he's undergoing an MRI, and he's day-to-day, and he's out, at least for this game tonight, or at least likely to miss this game tonight for the Buffalo Sabres. So this is another one. It's tough to get a great read on it. Is this a great spot for Florida coming off the overtime win against Washington 3-2? They played a division game. They got Tampa Bay coming up in a couple nights on the road, another rendition of the Battle of Florida. Not the spot I'm rushing to take the Panthers in either. So it's more of a betcast look for me, this game. What do you think, Alex? Sabres, Panthers?
Yeah, it's a complete pass for now. And if something pops up during the betcast, I'll jump in on it. But, pregame, I don't really like this. Don't like the side. Don't really like this current total number at the moment. So it's just watch and wait.
All right. Yeah, exactly. Watch and wait. And we can afford to do that tonight because we've got the betcast coming up tonight. So looking forward to that. Yeah, it's just, I only say that every time I say Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, because when I say it, it reminds me of Peter Piper, growing up with that damn nursery rhyme as a kid. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. It gets me thinking of that. It's just because the way the verbiage and the syllables roll off the tongue, saying Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen sounds like picked a pack of pickled peppers. That's all. That's why I make the
very phonetic name.
Comparison. Yeah. Very, very phonetic name. Yeah, exactly. Matt Robinson, not so much with the phoneticism. Buffalo and Florida.
Yeah, I don't really like a lot here pregame as well. I kind of lean towards the over at 6, but I think we can get a good price. I also sort of lean towards the first period over, but just given where it's at right now, I think if we wait a couple minutes, it might be a good live bet. Obviously, side with Florida as far as the team that I would pick to win the game, but not going to lay 220 on them. Just not a lot of value pregame. This is one of those games. You could look at Florida team total, or if Buffalo happens to score in the first 5 minutes, then you look to take Florida regulation or something like that and get some good value. But yeah, as far as pregame for me, probably a pass for now.
And remember, this was a Buffalo team that for much of last season, especially in the latter part of the year when they really got red hot and almost made the playoffs last year, Buffalo, they were awesome in this role. Road underdogs against better competition. Buffalo always seemed to bring their best game. Now, it hasn't been that way this year for them, but can they get back to that? That's going to be the big question. But I remember last year taking them so many times. They were a big underdog last year against better teams, elite competition. And those were often the games you'd get Buffalo's best games, best performances, and best efforts. They're going to need that tonight if they are going to try to knock off the red hot surging defending Eastern Conference champions, who again, their only loss the last 10 games was to Carolina by a score of 1-0 last week. So it's been an absolutely terrific run of hockey for them, no question. All right, next up, this is the game I was talking about earlier. The only game on the slate where it's both teams playing for exercise, really. The Arizona Coyotes and the Montreal Canadiens. Even money, -110, both sides, 6 the total in this game. Yet this is a game I absolutely love from a betting standpoint here tonight. Obviously, we've got the Arizona Coyotes on this brutal run. What is it now? A 12-game losing streak for Arizona coming into tonight. It's their longest winless stretch of hockey in 20 years. So it's not what you want to see, clearly. And now to make matters worse, Clayton Keller has got an injury, and he's out now for the Arizona Coyotes. So that could be something that gets you a little bit concerned. And he has been playing well, obviously, for them all season, but of late, 3 points in the last 3 games, 52 points, 22 goals, 30 assists, 52 points in 57 games this year for the Coyotes. But before we get a little bit carried away about the Arizona struggles and the losing streak and the absence of Clayton Keller, which is unfortunate, this is as winnable a game as Arizona's had in a very long time, because it's not like the Montreal Canadiens are anything to write home about right now either. This is a Canadiens team that's 1-7 in their last 8 games, that has lost 5 straight games, and a couple of these losses to, Washington and Buffalo and an erratic Pittsburgh team, New Jersey kind of slumping. Let's compare that schedule of losses to Arizona. Winnipeg, surefire playoff team. Toronto on fire. Edmonton, surefire playoff team. Colorado, surefire playoff team. Carolina, surefire playoff team. Contenders. All great teams and contenders. These last consecutive group of losses for the Arizona Coyotes. So if you're factoring in strength of schedule to this conversation, it's clearly in Arizona's favor. I don't usually step in front of a losing streak or a winning streak, but I'm doing so tonight. Give me those Coyotes to snap the streak tonight in Montreal here. -110 in this game. They got close to snapping the streak the other night against Winnipeg. I thought it was one of their better games. They got down early, but there was no quit. Tourigny hasn't lost the team. They came back. They fought back. They tied it with Winnipeg. And if not for a couple of Coyote players falling down in overtime, which resulted in an odd man rush for Connor that ended the game, Arizona, might have absolutely won that game. So they're improving, and they're closing in on a victory. And this is as winnable a game and as weak an opponent as they've played in quite some time. So I'm taking the Coyotes here, -110, a little smaller on the draw as well, because I don't see either team running away from the other. And I am going to go back to even with 2 capable, when they're on their game, these are 2 capable goalies. So maybe I get stung by this with Connor Ingram and Sam Montembeault in net tonight. But I'm going back to the over trifecta with Arizona again until I lose at this point. It's been cashing every single game lately. So first period over, first period, both teams to score, full game over 6 here with this Yotes and Habs game. Plus, it's got that age-old theory of mine where it's 2 losing teams, 2 teams way out of the playoffs, roll the puck out. Defense is optional. So I think we could see that here tonight as well. Alex, what do you think? Coyotes, Canadiens.
Yeah, it does feel like it could have that kind of up and down pace of 2 teams, like you always say, playing for exercise. But I'm keeping it a little simple here. I have the draw, and I have the first period over 1.5 -$1.30, and I've played it a little bit small, trying to, of course, grab some plus money in game during the betcast tonight. So that's just the approach I'm taking. Staying out of the side, I can make a case for Montreal. You can make a case for Arizona as well. But like I said, with that being said, and we saw one of the matchups go past regulation just recently, so I could definitely see a draw here cashing in.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean it's not for the faint of heart putting money on the Arizona Coyotes. 12 straight losses, but yours truly is on that ship tonight, and if he sinks on it, so be it. What do you think here, Matt? Arizona, Montreal.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I talked about this last time I was on the show, but when you have two teams that are out of the playoffs and they're playing each other, it's a great opportunity for guys to hit, some incentive bonuses, get a couple extra points that maybe they wouldn't get against a team, that's gearing up for the playoffs. So I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this game. So I'm definitely on the trifecta as well. I do see your case on the Coyotes, and I may sprinkle on the Coyotes. They got to win at some point. What better time to do it than against a low end Montreal team? But yeah, that would be a lighter play for me. And again, something maybe Montreal scores early, and then you get the Coyotes at a plus price. So this will be something I'm watching live. But pregame, I'm going to be on the over trifecta.
I mean, look, anytime you lose 12 in a row, it's bad, and it's very difficult to paint a rosy picture of a team that's lost 12 straight fucking hockey games in a row, obviously. But look at the schedule. I'll say it again. Look at it. Winnipeg, Toronto, Edmonton, Colorado, Carolina, Minnesota, since the Wild have started playing better. Philly, a playoff team. Nashville in the mix. Vegas, before Vegas was slumping. Carolina again. These have been the losses for Arizona. They have had a brutally difficult, brutally tough schedule. And this is as weak as it gets as far as an opponent that they have faced here in quite some time. So that's what I was looking at when I was doing my dive into this game. I'm like, wait a second. They've lost 12 in a row, but this has been a brutal slate. It's been one heavyweight, one great team after another, that they've been playing lately. So that's why they should. And plus, even with Keller out, which is a concern, how many times we see it in sports, especially NHL, NBA, they pull the bootstraps up first game without one of the best players on the team. It's crazy how many times they win. Even when that player's out of the lineup the first game. So I'm like I say, it would not shock me to see Arizona snap the skid tonight. All right, Ottawa, Nashville. We've got the Nashville Predators minus 145, home favorites, 6.5 being the total here in this game. I'm sticking to it with Ottawa. I know they did me wrong last night, but it is back-to-back. But I like actually the fact for their standpoint tonight that they kind of had a really rough game last night against Washington. That should have them focused, ready to go tonight. And to me, the spots cancel out. You can say all you want that you're concerned about Ottawa on the back-to-back here in this game, but it's just as bad a spot, if not worse, for Nashville here. Coming off the long, successful road trip, a little bit of a tricky spot. And Ottawa's had a lot of success in Nashville. Let's not forget that. They've actually played well in this building in the past in recent meetings. So, like I say, Ottawa's still played some really good hockey lately. We're not bailing on them after a rough game last night. They're more than capable of getting back on track, and they certainly catch Nashville in, yes, the Malinsky special. First game home off a 4-game or longer road trip, and it was a 5-gamer for Nashville coming off that loss. So Ottawa live dog, in my opinion. I'm okay taking them here. Plus 125 in this game. Jonas Korpisalo and UC Saros, your confirmed goalies. And like I said, Ottawa last year, in Nashville, beat them 3-2. And they have done a decent job head-to-head against the Predators in recent meetings. I don't know from a total standpoint how this is going to go, but I've got to imagine with a coach like Jacques Martin, you are going to see, obviously, this team really try to clamp down after giving up 6 last night. This is one where I'm going to wait for the betcast. Rocco's onto it. And if you follow the charts that Chris Otto delivers, which are awesome, you're onto it too. We've got an 11-1 over second period run for the Ottawa Senators going into this game tonight. So I'm not betting any early totals. I'm just going to wait for that second period to come around. And we will be hitting that live on the betcast. Some kind of over in the second period, both teams to score, something like that. 11 of the last 12 Sens games over 1.5 in the second period. What do you think here in this one, Alex? Ottawa, Nashville.
Well, I will be grabbing something early regarding that second period. That's both teams to score in the second at plus 106. You get that at FanDuel right now. We probably won't be getting plus price for that particular prop once we get to that live. Now, 2.5 plus 142 is available now. If you like that look, if you expect 3 or more goals in the second, by all means, grab that right now. But like I said, those kind of looks I'll be looking for and waiting during the betcast. And I'll take a little bit of Ottawa plus 125 with just kind of a history recent little bias. They said the Malinsky spot Nashville coming home off of 5 in a row. Nashville's one of those teams that kind of falls often off of that spot. They're not as bad as like a San Jose back in the day, but they have been caught in this spot more times than not. So Ottawa small on the money line. Both teams to score in the second period plus 106 at FanDuel, and then we'll be looking to add some more on during the betcast this evening.
I'm going to divvy this up a little bit. Ottawa full game money line. I'm also going to put a chunk of that percentage of the overall bet on the first period money line for Ottawa as well, because I think first period is advantageous. They've got the adrenaline of playing last night. Obviously a bad game, come out strong. Nashville flat-footed first period at home after that lengthy road trip. So I think having a portion of that Ottawa position on the first period makes a lot of sense to me. What do you think here, Matt? Ottawa, Nashville.
Yeah, really, pregame, I'm only going to take Ottawa. Again, I think it's sort of a toss-up game, but it's a tough spot for Nashville, and so plus 125. I'll throw a little on Ottawa pregame, but yeah, as far as this will be more of a live bet. I do like the over here. I like there to be goals, but I'd like to get it, maybe down to 6 or even 5.5. And then first period over. I don't hate it pregame, but I'm going to see if I can get some better odds a couple minutes into the game. So, I'll throw a little on Ottawa here. I think it's sort of a toss-up game, but I like the value there at plus 125. And then we'll be looking for some spots live on the show tonight.
No doubt. Definitely, it's going to be a good betcast game, and this is definitely one where, again, with that second – and by the way, there's 2 other second period over spots to circle tonight, the Leafs and the Red Wings. Both of those teams have really been trending heavily second period over. So Toronto, Vegas on the betcast tonight. We'll probably I'll be at least looking at a second period over, and Detroit and Washington probably as well.
And then one coming up later too, right? On the card.
Yes, the obvious one coming up later. The one that I think everybody knows about that watches and listens to this show and checks out those charts. And it came through again last night. And we will get to that certainly in just a bit as well. All right, next up, we've got St. Louis and Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets back home, or remaining at home, I should say, minus 190 home favorites in this game. The total sitting at 6. Shaded to the under in this game. This for Winnipeg, not their best game, clearly, against the Coyotes on Sunday, but a win is a win. And they were able to get that victory against the Coyotes 4-3 in overtime. They had a lead, squandered it, and then had to rally, in overtime for the 4-3 win. St. Louis, this is their first game after it was the worst period of hockey, or among them, that I've seen a single team play all season. That first period, when we were on the air Saturday doing the show, it was the first period at the same time. It was the first period of that Red Wings Blues game. And that first period was a complete and utter debacle, an absolute fiasco, disgrace by St. Louis. I can't believe how awful they were in that period. Defensively, odd man rushes left and right, loss of coverage, breakdowns galore. They just didn't even show up to start that game, St. Louis, and they were buried in the first period Saturday afternoon by the Detroit Red Wings. So shame on them if they don't show up early here in this game tonight against the Winnipeg Jets after a complete and utter no-show and a disaster to begin that game on Saturday afternoon against the Detroit Red Wings. But they aren't the better of these two teams, even if they do show up. Do I trust them? Not against a Winnipeg team that's 8-1. In their last 9 head-to-head meetings against the St. Louis Blues. So that's not something I really am enamored to see. I actually do lean a little bit in this game to maybe a first period over, or both teams to score. Both teams to score in the first period I definitely think could hit. St. Louis has to come out better than they did against the Detroit Red Wings. You would think so. And look, we saw first period over, first period both teams to score with the Jets on Sunday. In their game against an inferior team, taking on the Arizona Coyotes. So I think there's definitely a possibility we could see that cash in here again. So that's what I'd be looking at. I don't know about full game over. This could be one of those deals where it slows down here as the game goes on. And it looks like from a goaltending standpoint tonight, we've got Hofer in net for the Blues and Laurent Brossoit in net for the Winnipeg Jets. So it looks like backup versus backup will be the situation that we have in play here for this Blues and Red Wings game. So right now, again, what I'm looking at here is probably first period over, and first period both teams to score as well in this one. Alex, what do you think here? Blues, Jets.
Yeah, definitely riding with both of those. First period over 1.5 minus $1.12. So another great cheap price on Winnipeg. And this is a history too. 9-3, the last 12 meetings have gone over in the first period. So that's a really good value. Also, like both teams to score in the first, you get that as high as plus 192. Also at FanDuel, and I'll be taking a shot here with the draw. The two teams, battling for playoff spots. Winnipeg obviously trying to climb higher up into the Central. St. Louis trying to just stick around in that wild card race. So points will be important, and this is a game I could definitely see slowing down late into the contest. So if we do get a bunch of goals early during the betcast, might be trying to eye a live under as we see this kind of slow down to a pace and hopefully go past 60 minutes.
All right, Matt, what do you think? Blues, Jets?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I'm on the first period over. I do like both teams to score as well. But I think it will slow down in a perfect world if we get, 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. A live under seems like a very likely play. And I don't hate the draw here either because, as Alex mentioned, you've got Winnipeg that's kind of in cruise control but knows they need to get those points to get up to the top of the Central. And then you have St. Louis still fighting for a playoff spot. So if coming into the third period it's a 2-2 game, I think both teams kind of sit back, make sure they get that 1 point. And then obviously it'll be, a battle from there. But yeah, I think I'll sprinkle on the draw, but definitely on the first period over. I think there will be some goals quick. So that'll be my main play here.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. Yeah, we just had a bolt of lightning and the power flickered. Yeah, that's right, folks. Bolt of lightning on February 27th. We got a thunderstorm going here. That's how warm it's been the last few days. Crazy.
We here in St. Paul, we went from 62 degrees Fahrenheit yesterday to tomorrow morning when I wake up, it'll be wind chills below 0.
Wow. Yeah, that is. I think we're gonna see something similar as well pretty soon. Yeah, that I knew that was going to disappear initially. There we go. But yeah, it just flickered and came back. I'm like, I thought when it first went out, I'm like, it's Alex and Matt for the rest of the show. But no, we're back. It came back pretty quick. So there we go. But yeah, it's going to cool off here after this little storm as well. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, like I say, it looks like we all like the first period, both teams / first period overlook here when it comes to the Blues and the Jets. All right, next up, we continue along. This is another important game for both teams, especially for the Minnesota Wild as they try to continue their playoff push. They host the Carolina Hurricanes in this one. We've got Carolina minus 140 road favorites, 6 the total in this game. I'm reluctant right now at the moment to step in front of Minnesota. They've had a nice little run. I'm going to give them their due. This is a very important. Every game is important for them now because they're just a couple points out of the wild card hunt going into this matchup. Carolina lost to Buffalo on the road the other night. Clearly they're capable of losing here in Minnesota. And if you actually look at series history here with the Hurricanes and the Wild, it hasn't been automatic for Carolina here in Minnesota. In fact, the Wild have won each of the last 2 games here at XL Energy Center against the Carolina Hurricanes, 3-2, 2-1 last year. In Minnesota, between these two teams in overtime. And then in Carolina won 5-2 January 19th. And then Minnesota came back and beat Carolina earlier this year in Carolina 5-2. It was a very impressive victory for the Minnesota Wild. So I'm leaning Wild here, but I like the draw more. That's what I'm looking at here. I like the draw more. This is a very good draw type of bet, in my opinion. It's another perfect scenario where Minnesota does not care if Carolina gets points. Carolina does not care if Minnesota gets points. They're in their own races, respectively. I think it's going to be a very competitive hockey game. I like what the Wild are doing. They beat Vancouver, a very good team, the last time they were at home. They've won 3 of the last 4. And this is not quite as brutal a spot home off a road trip because it was only a 3-game trip. Winnipeg, Edmonton, Seattle for Minnesota, and they have 2 days off following that win against Seattle. So it's a lean to the Wild, but I like the draw even more in this game. Alex, Hurricanes Wild.
Yeah, dog draw split, but it's probably 20% on Wild and 80% on draw. And when you look at this head-to-head, 4 of the last 6 meetings here in St. Paul have gone past regulation with these two teams. So it's a draw season candidate with a strong trend to back it. That's where we're rolling. Draw, but we will have a little bit of Minnesota Wild in pocket at plus 120. And we'll be looking for a full game and first period overs live. It's not my favorite looks, but if we see the numbers and the pace that we like while we're on the betcast, then this is something I'll be circling to jump in with for first period and full game overs.
Yeah, I mean, I like what I'm seeing out of Minnesota, and they have played well at home against Carolina. The one thing that I'm worried about and why I'm not more bullish on Minnesota tonight is, gosh, I really don't like betting against Carolina off 2 losses in a row. And now they've lost 2 in a row. The Dallas game at home on Saturday, and then they lost, of course, Sunday in Buffalo. You know, they're probably going to be circling the wagons and wanting to snap that little mini skid that they're on. And I think tonight we're probably going to see, just confirm it, yes, Pyotr Kochetkov, and there is a goalie advantage for Carolina. Even though Gustafsson, he had that good game against Edmonton, I'll take Kochetkov. Thank you very much. So those are the factors that kind of worry me. And I still lean Minnesota. I'll have sprinkle on them, but I'd be liking it more if it wasn't Kochetkov and if it wasn't Carolina off 2 losses in a row.
We might have a little trend in the beginning involving our Ice Gas family. Jarek Rubel in the chat going to be doing the call for this game, and he says he always ends up getting a lot of overtime games. I did notice that he was calling the Hawks and Wings game Sunday. That game went to OT, so maybe there's something to that.
So it's Jarek the draw leading to some rubles for us from a financial standpoint, but that's just not the best I've come up with. I fully admit that. What do you think here, Matt? Carolina, Minnesota. You're muted.
So honestly, I was going to pass on this game initially, but I do kind of like the draw here. I think that's a good play. So I think I'm going to sprinkle on that pregame.
Come on, join us on the draw. We're killing it with these draws right now. This is a good one.
And it does to both your points, and I think Ian, you mentioned this specifically, but I do like the draw in these games as we get down the stretch of 2 teams kind of in the mix, but in separate conferences. Because, again, Minnesota doesn't care if Carolina gets a point. Carolina doesn't care if Minnesota gets a point. So, again, it's one of those games that if it's 2-2, 3-3, even 1-1, with 10 minutes left, neither team wants to lose and get no points. So I think you'll see a lot of chipping it in and playing sort of a trap just to get to overtime. And then, you can make a bet from there. So really just going to take the draw, and then we'll see if there's some live looks during the show tonight.
Yeah, it's 7 goals for Matt Boldy in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. 7 goals for Matt Boldy in the last 8 games, and it's a whopping 15 points in the last 8 games for him as well. So he's back. Remember, you couldn't find him with a telescope in the playoffs last year for Minnesota. Matt Boldy is back, and look, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you got to put some credit to probably John Hines for this, because this has been a John Hines resurgence of Matt Boldy of late for the Minnesota Wild. So that's been something that they know. The kid's just got immense talent offensively. We all know that, and he's capitalizing on it right now, and he's making good with it. Not to mention now you got everyone healthy again. Kaprizov, Zuccarello, Eriksson, they're all contributing up front. You've even seen some glimmer of offense lately from the likes of Marcus Johansson, who's a very streaky player in his career. So, yeah, like I said, we do have to give he's not one of my favorites still, John Hines, but we got to give him some credit for that one. Boldy's on his game again, and I'm sure the coaching does have something to do with that. No question. And then for Carolina, as far as props in this game, when I look at it, Natchez has been great. This is Matt on the show, so maybe we do have to look at Stefan Nason for Carolina. That's been something Matt's believed in. He's on the show. Carolina's playing. Stefan Nason props are live. Yeah, those are the main ones right now for them. Bunting and Aho too. Keep an eye. You don't always get Bunting's not a bad price, but no question. Aho too has been pretty good, starting to get it going lately as well for the Carolina Hurricanes. All right, next up, Los Angeles and Calgary. This is another big game on the card tonight for both of these teams who need the points as they both try to remain in the wild card race in the West. We've got LA trying to bounce back from a loss to Edmonton last night, back-to-back for them in the province of Alberta. You've got Calgary minus 120 home favorites, 5.5 the total. And note the total, it's down to 5.5 in most spots here with the Kings and the Flames tonight. Like I said, back-to-back spot for the Kings after a tough loss last night Adrian Kempe, by the way, worth noting, he's already been ruled out for this game tonight against the Calgary Flames. An injury he sustained last night against Edmonton, and it's so significant, this upper body injury he got last night, that he is going back to LA to get further examination. So this could be something that keeps him out for at least a little bit of time, Adrian Kempe here for the LA Kings. And that's unfortunate. He had 6 points in the last 5 games prior to the injury last night. So that leaves a bit of a void for them. Mikey Anderson, it looks like, on the blue line is out. For Calgary, it looks like Kuzmenko still out for them. Jacob Markstrom already confirmed in net for the Calgary Flames, even though it was Darth Vladar, that led them to victory against Edmonton on Saturday night in the Battle of Alberta. That being said, Jacob Markstrom's been absolutely outstanding. And look, this is what the Flames do. The Flames in the games that matter, especially at home, and they play teams that are pretty capable. These are the games they show up. It's what John Massey has said for years. When they are a big favorite at home against your San Jose's and your Anaheims, teams like that, that's when it's better beware when it comes to the Calgary Flames. But, more often than not, they've been good in these situations. So, I am on Calgary a little bit here, minus 120 in this game against the Kings. Kings now, suffered a loss. I know that the record is still, I think, 6-3 now under Jim Hiller. But when I look at this, Calgary looks like they were playing with gusto again, at least against in the big games, the games that matter, the opponents that are right there with them. Because you look at these recent results, they lose to Detroit and San Jose at home, but look what they've done since then: beat Winnipeg, beat Boston, beat Edmonton in the last 3 games. So, yeah, for me, this is definitely going to look at Calgary. I understand now why they're a slight favorite. I think the draw could be live. Have a little smaller piece of that as well. The Kings and the Flames in the draw here in this game. This is one, too, where at least in the first period, I could see maybe a first period over, first period, both teams to score in this game. But now that total's down to 5.5, I'm even tempted by over 5.5 here. I mean, we're talking about still a Kings team that's still a little dicey in net with Riddick last night, and then, of course, with Cam Talbot tonight, who is still trying to regain his form. He started out the season red hot, but he's really scuffled of late. Now, the last 2 starts for him were pretty good. Gave up 1 goal to Pittsburgh, 1 goal to Columbus. He hasn't started in the last 3. We'll see if he can keep it rolling here, but I lean that 5.5 over, but more so I like the early goals looks here. First period over, first period both teams to score, Calgary and draw. There you go. Alex, what do you think? Kings, Flames.
Yeah, so I'll be on the over trifecta. Small looks early with the first period and full game overs. We're going to try and obviously grab more in game with these low numbers of 1.5 and minus 120 for each, the 1.5 and 5.5. So we should be able to get plus money 2-3 minutes in while we're on the betcast. First period, both teams to score. And I also like the draw here quite a bit. Like I said, this perfectly sets up to be a draw game. Calgary needing points desperately. Kings needing to get points as much as they can. This just feels like the kind of a game that they have goals back and forth throughout. This won't be a slow pace. If I'm looking for a correct score, I'd probably be taking a shot with a 4-4 tie or something of that nature. So I think this is gonna be a fun one. This is a great one to have on the betcast, and I think it goes a little bit longer. It goes past 60.
Keep in mind, 4-1 to the over in the last 5 meetings, actually, with the Kings and the Flames. And other than the last game in December in LA, like last year, that was Daryl Sutter Flames teams, of course, last year. We remember that. And they weren't the same push the pace, activate the defense, blue liners joining the play, jumping into the rush type of team last year that they are now under Ryan Huska. Like you're seeing Noah Hannafin and Rasmus Anderson and all their blue liners and jumping into the play. Anytime they get the chance. That didn't happen under Sutter, and yet the Sutter Flames still played a bunch of overs last year with the LA Kings for some reason. So definitely series history points to over tonight with these 2 teams. Matt, how about you? LA, Calgary.
Yeah, obviously a system play for me at the over 5.5. I love that. So I'll definitely be on that pregame. If it is a slower start, maybe it drops to 5. I'll probably double down on that as well because I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this game. I could see an argument for the draw. I don't know that I'll jump on it pregame, but I expect it to be like a 3-3, 4-4 type game, as Alex mentioned. So I think there's going to be a lot of goals. I'll also be on the first period over as well because I think it's a solid price. So
Yep. All right. Good stuff there. As far as props, yeah, anything's Pospisil. How can we not? How do we not take him again? He has been absolutely terrific. Multiple consecutive game goal streak now for Martin Pospisil of the Calgary Flames. So rocking right back with that. He's playing with Kadri and Zary. That top line's been very good. I could definitely see him having a chance here to find the back of the net for the Calgary Flames in this one. Keep an eye. Dryden Hunt scored the other night, and he got a goal and an assist. So keep an eye on that. But definitely my favorite for Calgary is Marty Pospisil. He has been very, very good the last few games on that top line. All right, I think the consensus is that this is the game of the night, and it sure is, in my opinion. It's a battle for first in the Central. It's ESPN Plus, Dallas and Colorado. We've got the Avs minus 135 home favorites in this game. Total 6.5 across the board. This should be phenomenal viewing. These are obviously two teams that are excellent, two teams that believe they're cup contenders in the Western Conference. And, of course, as far as the standings are concerned, in a battle for first right now in the Central Division, Dallas leads the division by 2 over Winnipeg and by 4 over this Colorado team right now. So it is a big, big 2 points at stake here in this game tonight. Stars, all of a sudden, to me, they haven't. You look at the fact that they're 1-5 in their last 6 games, Dallas, yet it doesn't feel like they're playing that poorly. When you look at that 6-game stretch, they should have beat Boston, didn't capitalize on their chances. They could have beat Edmonton to start that little skid. They lost in overtime, lost in a shootout to Boston. Shesterkin stole the 2 points for the New York Rangers against Dallas at Madison Square Garden. They did have a stink bomb against Ottawa. Anyone will admit that. That Ottawa game was awful for Dallas, one of the worst games they've played. Carolina was a tight game that they were on that they found a way to win 2-1. And then, of course, the Islanders game was a brutal spot. Like I said, 2 road games home, 1 road game home, 4 road games home. It's just too much travel, too much air miles. It added up, and Islanders took advantage of it last night. Now they're on the road again, playing this Colorado team that's rested, hasn't played since Saturday, and is coming off a loss as well on Saturday night against the Toronto Maple Leafs at home 4-3. So clearly I get the situationals are all in Colorado's favor here in this game. There's no doubt. But you look at series history, Colorado has won 3 straight. That's another thing people will point to, no question. And they've won 5 of the last 6 meetings overall head-to-head. But I'm not going to be on either side here. I'm not on Dallas, but I'm not on Colorado either. This is the over trifecta for me. First period over, both teams, and full game over 6.5. We have seen the over hit in 4 straight meetings between the Avs and the Stars, 7-3, 5-2, 6-3, 5-4, the final scores in those games. So all of them clearly going over the total, 7 goals or more in the last 4 meetings. So I like the over trifecta. That's what I like pregame, but I'm going to keep that wet wager amount in check, because I'm definitely piling on a significant amount, and it was a more significant amount than normal live last night with the second period over. This has been a gold mine. 17 straight now for the Dallas Stars second period over, going for 18 in a row tonight. And I put the tweet out, and I'm sticking to it. Anyone that's on the Betcast live tonight on the stream with us, first intermission of this Dallas-Colorado game, I'm not taking no for an answer. Everyone is getting on this second period over. We're going to have a big group bet tonight. And we're going to cheer together. We're going to make money together. Friends forever will be together, through thick or thin. That's exactly it. We're going to be betting friends in this game here tonight. We're on top because we play to win. It was like one of these old cheesy soundtrack songs from the 80s. And that's what this is going to be here. We're all getting involved here. Dallas second period over, even if it's $2. Even if it's just small bet, small potatoes for you, put something on it. We're all going to jump in. Second period over. We're either going to ride this 18-game second period over streak with Dallas together, or we're going to see it crash and burn and end in agony together as well. Either way, we're going to be on it tonight. Second period over, all of us. So hop on the Express here. Let's get a group bet here. That's Sammy P. When he was on the Betcast, he's the one that's got me on this group bet kick. Now after he joined us a few Betcasts ago to try to get us on one with the Vancouver future. What do you like here, Alex? Great game. Can't wait. Dallas, Colorado.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, I already rocking and rolling with the group bet. I have over 2.5. plus 150 in the second period. I have both teams to score in the second period, plus 108. I do, Matt, you're not going to like this. I do like Colorado to win here. But I will be waiting in game for this. Like I said, I want to see, if anything, I probably would be looking at Colorado first period puck line, because that's where all the energy and momentum should probably show up, right? Colorado can get the first goal, then maybe that's where we see the air kind of come out of Dallas a little bit because of the travel spot. Like, this is absolutely brutal from a scheduling standpoint. But if they can weather the storm and hang around in the first period, then that's where I think this becomes just kind of a regular, divisional game, a tight battle back and forth. So I have a little bit of draw in pocket as well, and that's predicated on that Dallas can hang on and play well and keep their legs under them in this contest. That's a tough ask, considering you have such a rested Colorado team. So it's not one of my favorite draw looks, but it's just the schedule spot, makes this a game that I lean more toward Colorado than Dallas. But it should definitely be a fun one, and looking for goals in this. So also we'll be on the first period over, grabbing a little bit of that at minus 140. We'll try to add a little bit more on if we can get some plus money in game as well.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, it's hard to deny that. I'm sure even Matt will say it. The scheduling dynamics are just so lopsided in Colorado's favor, going into this game. There's no question about that. Dallas has to overcome some shit, if they're going to win this game tonight. There's no doubt, and they got to play at a high level. And let's be honest, Colorado's rested at home off a rare home loss. I like over saves tonight for Ottinger. I really like that prop tonight. He's going to be pelted. Okay, he's going to be pelted. He's going to face a high degree of shot volume tonight, in my opinion. You look at Colorado at home. This is a team that's gotten into the 37s and the 31s before, as far as shots on goal, off a loss to Toronto. So if you're looking at a goalie prop, I don't bet too many of them until we get to the playoffs. But certainly tonight, Jake Ottinger over saves definitely makes some sense here in this one tonight. And Ottinger, like we said, since the All-Star break, go back to February 6th, the beginning of this month, 1, 2, 2, 2, 4, which was the one kind of okay game, average game, blah game he had, but it was against Edmonton, and then 3, 3, and 1. So he has been really good at 3 goals or less routinely here of late. But man, that'll be put to the test tonight by this Colorado team, potent as hell and coming off a loss. What do you think here, Matt? Your Stars taking on Colorado.
Yeah, don't really like the sides, either side here. Obviously, I think Colorado, it's a line for them to get the win tonight. I kind of would have expected Dallas to be bigger underdogs, and then I might have, sprinkled a little on my team, plus 150, something like that. But plus 115 seems fishy to me, just given if you take in all factors. But yeah, so I do like goals often, goals early and goals often. So I am going to be on the first period over. I love that play. And then the game over as well. If there is a slow start, which doesn't tend to happen to Dallas tends to give up a goal in the first 5 minutes. If there is a slow start, this might be a good live look as well. But yeah, overall, just excited for this game. There are a few props that I like in this game, one of which I'll mention a little bit later. But then, you've got to think about riding Stankoven, Wyatt Johnston, your typical normal guys. And then, guys like McKinnon, McCarr, maybe over 2 points, things like that are also worth a look. I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this. I do think Ottinger has a lot of motivation to play well, and I think he will play well. But when you're giving up, 40 shots, I think it's still very likely that there's 3 or 4 goals for the Avs. So just like goals in this game, really excited to watch the game. As I mentioned earlier, I wish the Stars were coming into the game in a little bit better spot. Maybe not a back-to-back on the road after a game at home. I think that's tough, but it is what it is. So looking forward to the game, but yeah, not on either side, just given what the odds are right now. So we'll see if there's anything live during the show.
Yeah, absolutely. You read my mail with the Dallas props, Matt. Johnston and Stankoven are clearly 2 of my favorites there if I'm going to look at props for them. I'm going to Arturi Lehkonen again for Colorado. This guy's heating up. He's now back on the top line as well with McKinnon and Rantanen, and you can see he's making it happen. He's got goals now in 3 of the last. Actually, he's got 5 goals in the last 6 games for Colorado, and he has 8 points during that span. So Arturi Lehkonen, I think he's got a great value with his props tonight for Colorado. Maybe throw a little on the old man, Zach Parise. He's up to the second line tonight. I know it's his last season. He's undoubtedly going to retire, I think, at the end of this season. But this is his last kick at the Stanley Cup. But, maybe sprinkle on that. And I'll throw another little longer shot at you. How about Andrew Cogliano, once upon a time a Dallas Star? I know he's devolved into a fourth liner now at this stage of his career, more of a checking shutdown forward, doesn't score a ton, but he did score against Toronto Saturday night. He's playing his old team. Why not? A little shot with Andrew Cogliano here tonight for the Colorado Avalanche in this game as well. All right, next up, we've got just 2 games left, Pittsburgh Penguins and the Vancouver Canucks. It is Vancouver minus 150 home favorites in this game. The total currently 6 shaded to the over, Penguins and Canucks. Pittsburgh, obviously, look, a rare back-to-back wins for them at home in their last 2 games. They need a lot more than that, though. They can't stop there, Pittsburgh. They've got to bring the winning ways with them on the road and put a streak together, if they truly hope to get back into the mix here in the Eastern Conference playoff race. But you got to start somewhere. And they did beat Montreal and Philadelphia back-to-back home games now as they embark on this Western road trip, the usual type of Western road trip, right? They're going to play the 3 Western Canadian teams in Seattle, all on the road. So that's coming up here for Pittsburgh. Starts tonight in Vancouver against a Canucks team that, starting to be some tremors of worry, some tremors of doubt, tremors of concern for the Vancouver Canucks after 4 straight losses. But great resolve. It was a 2-0 lead for Boston. They're staring down a potential 5th straight loss, and the Canucks mustered it up and found a way to rally back and beat the Boston Bruins 3-2 in overtime on Saturday. A huge confidence builder for them. And I think it's probably momentum, that can carry over here for Vancouver tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Last year, it was 5-1 Vancouver against Pittsburgh here at home against the Penguins. They played earlier this year in Pittsburgh, and it was a 4-3 overtime win for the Canucks. But, I don't know if I love the price enough, minus 150, against a Pittsburgh team that's obviously playing with a great deal of importance on these games, obviously trying to get back into the race. So I don't know if I love laying a minus 150 price into and against a team that needs these points like Pittsburgh, but they have just not been a team I trust on the road. And in particular, the Western road trip in the past for Pittsburgh hasn't necessarily been good for them. So I think what I might look at here is probably a team total on Vancouver. You can get it at over 3.5 at plus money, plus 115, plus 120. That does appeal to me a little bit. As far as the full game total, we did see the last 2 meetings go over the number between the Penguins and the Canucks. It is confirmed that we're going to see Tristan Jarry, Thatcher Demko in between the pipes here for their respective teams. It's going to be interesting because we've seen this Pittsburgh power play really, really struggle, and we've seen Vancouver's penalty kill under Mike Yeo get a little bit of criticism lately for their decline in recent games. So what's going to give? This declined penalty kill of the Canucks or this horseshit, borderline embarrassing power play of Pittsburgh, which has been bad much of the season. So that's a tough handicap in this game. Who's going to win that battle tonight? But if anything, your Canucks team total over. Don't really love a lot other than that. What do you think, Alex? Pittsburgh, Vancouver.
This is a big card. I've already got a ton of plays. This game's a clear pass. But if I had to bet on either the power play of the Penguins or anything run by Mike Yeo, I'm going to fade anything run by Mike Yeo.
Pittsburgh's got the edge just because Mike Yeo's involved with that awful power play. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see if that indeed ends up happening. Look, Evan's in the chat. That's a great point, Evan. And Evan's knows this team. He's a Penguin fan. And he notes that Riley Smith, though, has been, I agree. I mean, you should bet Riley Smith. I mean, he is up on the top line with Sidney Crosby and Rickard Rakell tonight. This is a spot for him to finally step up, but he has obviously not had a great year. I mean, only 10 goals on the season for Riley Smith. It's shocking considering how good he was for Vegas, but he's got the opportunity. I got to bet him. I got to bet him at the price you're going to get. I agree, Riley. I just hope he finally steps up playing with Crosby tonight. What do you think, Matt? Pittsburgh, Vancouver.
Yeah, I don't really like anything here pregame. I do lean towards the first period over and game over. I'm just going to try and see if we can get it live. I do think Vancouver team total. Sorry, I did write that down. I am going to take Vancouver team total because it's plus money over 3.5. I feel like it's very likely they score 4 goals at home. But I do think Pittsburgh will have some battle to it, to them as well. So that's why I'm leaning towards the over. I just would love to get it at 5.5 in case it's a 4-2 game. At least you get the win. So, but yeah, as far as sides go, just given the odds, I lean towards Vancouver, but I'm not going to lay $1.50 on it. So yeah, I'll be on the team total over, and then likely try and live the first period over and game over as well.
And the reason for Riley Smith moving up is because Brian Rust is out for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And, of course, they're already without Gensel, who's going to be traded before the March 8th deadline. So that's why Riley Smith's going to get that opportunity. I like what Cuban is saying in the chat. This is an interesting look. And, look, Cuban's always taken these really creative, longer shot goal props and sometimes goal parlays. He's going with an Elias Pettersson, Vancouver Canucks, Marcus Pettersson for the Pittsburgh Penguins, who's a defenseman, and he's not known for offense. He has 3 goals on the season, but he did score 1 against the New York Islanders a few games ago. So there you go. The Pettersson parlay there, plus 37-1 for Elias Pettersson and Marcus Pettersson to score a goal here tonight for their respective teams. So interesting stuff. Yeah, I didn't know that, Rod, as far as that. Canucks 8-0 following an overtime game. There you go. So momentum, and an overtime win this was as well for them against Boston. So we'll see if they can maintain the momentum following that big comeback against Boston. All right, final game of this Tuesday slate, the New Jersey Devils heading to San Jose to take on the Sharks. New Jersey minus 260 road favorites here in this game. The total sitting at 6.5, shaded to the under in this one. Look, San Jose is San Jose. We all know that. But I'll be freaking damned if I'm laying minus 260 with New Jersey and all the vultures that are circling around that team right now. With the way they're playing, I can't believe how bad, zero emotion, zero passion, zero intensity there was from the New Jersey Devils against Tampa Bay on Sunday in a national TV game, Hockey Day in America. You're battling for your playoff lives, and I couldn't believe the lethargy, the lethargic nature of the New Jersey Devils in that game. Stunning, awful, and they had every right to be upset. The Fire Lindy chant started again, and now the Fire Lindy chants are warranted because they're bitching about there's no adjustments on the power play, and there's another power play that's totally lacking confidence right now. And we saw it again. You look at it, they've had opportunities. They've struggled. Their even strength play, not good. And that was, just a very, very disheartening loss. They failed to muster 20 shots on goal at home in a game of that magnitude against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I can't lay this. I can't get behind New Jersey, even against San Jose right now. Usually, I say when a good team or a decent team at least is struggling, San Jose is their get-well spot. I don't know if it's going to be their get-well spot tonight. I can envision a scenario San Jose beats them tonight because things are so out of whack and there's such little pushback right now from the New Jersey Devils that Lindy could be gone after tonight if they lose to the San Jose Sharks, because that's how bad this could be right now for them. So I don't like that at all, what I'm seeing from them as far as form. And another thing I'm factoring into this thought process here with the reluctance to back New Jersey in any form, it's not only the price being what it is, it's because if there's any game Mackenzie Blackwood's geared up to play, oh yeah, it's New Jersey, team that traded him away, said, you're not going to be part of our future plans. And do I fault New Jersey for that completely? No, because you guys know I've never been a big Blackwood believer or a Blackwood fan. How many times have I been singing the great Beatles over the years? Blackwood shitting in the dead of night. How many times have I sung that ditty on the Ice Guys show, talking about how much I don't think Blackwood's all that good? But if there's ever a game he's going to want to play well, and if there's ever a game he's going to want to really elevate his game and play solid for this team, it's going to be tonight against the team that didn't want him. And if I'm not mistaken, There was a time that I thought for sure he was going to play earlier this season when they played New Jersey in New Jersey, and they went with Kokkonen that night. I still remember it. I was stunned that they didn't give Blackwood, or that David Quinn didn't give Blackwood that start. He has given Blackwood that start tonight against his old team. So I haven't moved on this game yet, but I am awfully tempted by the home underdog here. I will say that. With the San Jose Sharks plus 210, given all the factors involved. I know they've lost 3 in a row. But they've had 2 days off. Vegas and Nashville and Columbus wasn't a great loss either because the Jackets haven't been anything to write home about. But to me, this is a New Jersey team. Things are on the verge of spiraling a little bit here for the New Jersey Devils at this point in time. So I'm going to go in with a little Sharks plus 210. And certainly I think the draw is live too, because if you actually look last year in San Jose when these teams played 4-3 Devils in a shootout, and the game did go past regulation. In fact, each of the last 3 meetings between the Devils and the Sharks in San Jose have gone past regulation. So it's a dog and draw split for me here. Sharks and draw. I don't trust the Devils. I've got this feeling in my stomach that things are on the verge of just exploding and imploding right here, because that's a warning sign of warning signs that in a game of that magnitude against Tampa at home, you really don't have more to offer than that. And there was no pushback when they fell behind. They shut it down. That's the worst part. That's the damning part about it. They shut it down when they fell behind in that game against Tampa Bay, and there was nothing in terms of we're coming back, we're going to continue to play. No, they shut it down. This is not a New Jersey team in a mental way right now where I'm trusting them. Alex, what do you think here? New Jersey, San Jose.
Yeah, I'll just keep it simple. I like the draw here. I was able to grab plus 375 at Bet Online. So shop around. There might be a plus 400 floating around potentially, but that's a high price for a good goaltending spot. And like I said, a team you can't trust to be anywhere in this price range right now with the New Jersey Devils, even against a horrible team like San Jose. And the fact that we've seen history trend toward it, this should be a close one. So give me the draw.
I want to mention something too. I'm looking at Blackwood. I know he's won a few starts recently. He's actually 3-1 in his last. He's actually 4-1 in his last 4 starts. He beat Anaheim. He beat the Rangers, Seattle, Calgary, and he lost his last start against Vegas, the one where they got shut out 4-0. But yeah, Mackenzie Blackwood is actually 4-1 in his last 5 starts, and now he's got the team that discarded him like a piece of trash. Didn't want him anymore. So yeah.
No, as I say, a draw price as high as 420 at FanDuel. So definitely grab something better than what I got.
Yeah, that's a real. And again, 3 straight in San Jose with the Devils against the Sharks have gone past regulation. What do you think here, Matt? New Jersey, San Jose.
Yeah, so this was going to be generally a pass game for me, but you've kind of sold me on San Jose, so I think I am going to jump on a plus 200 dog at home. But that'll be my only play pregame. I would lean towards the first period over, but I'm seeing it at like minus 150, minus 160. So maybe worth waiting and trying to get it live. But yeah, I'm going to take the Sharks here. Why not? I can't, I'm not going to bet the Devils minus 260, given how they've been playing as of late. So why not? A little big underdog to wrap up the night. Not sure if I'll even still be up watching this game, but we'll see.
Well, you will be, because this will be starting when the Dallas game's still going, so you'll be up then. Yeah,
it's true. I'll see the beginning. I might be asleep before the end of the game, but maybe San Jose jumps out to a quick lead.
Exactly. Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, definitely. I'm looking at Sharks and draw. And what I want to point out too with New Jersey is I give 3 forwards a pass. Heishier's been good. Toffoli's been pretty good. Bratt's been pretty good. Jack Hughes needs to be better. Simple as that. They need more. Meyer's got to be a hell of a lot better, man. And maybe this is the night against his old team, Timo Meier. I'm actually tempted to bet Timo Meier props, but it's difficult. This guy's been an absolute bust for New Jersey. He has been way short of expectations when they traded for him. There's no question, but maybe facing his old team, going back to San Jose, gets a little something out of Timo Meier. So I will sprinkle on it, but not with great confidence because he's been very quiet. And then on the blue line, look, nobody's really playing on. And Luke Hughes has just been a nightmare at times in his own end. Like, we know he's got the playmaking ability and the skating ability and quarterback the power play, but man, he's got to improve at the defensive end. He really does. There's a lot of work he has to do as far as that part of the game is concerned for Luke Hughes for the New Jersey Devils. All right, great stuff. That is the Tuesday card. Again, we've got our betcast tonight. We can't wait. 7 p.m. Eastern. It is a great slate. And again, make sure you DM or email Alex or me for a spot on the betcast, and we will send you the link for it before it begins, 7 p.m. Eastern. And again, patreon.com/iceguys, $10 per month. Daily sides, totals, and player props posted there. Goalie charts, totals charts, bonus video content, and more. Patreon.com/iceguys. Your subscription fee goes a long way to keeping the show rolling for the long run. Patreon.com/iceguys. Sign up now, just $10 per month. We'll have more Patreon exclusive live betcasts coming up in March and beyond as well. And last but not least, the Ice Guys store. Now's a great time to get on board. Ice Guys, but get your gear, get your merch, take advantage of the specials. iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Just want to briefly go back and mention with the Patreon page for tonight. If you haven't signed up, today would be a good time to do it, because if you want to join us on the stream live, people who are signed up to Patreon, they get first crack. So if you do want to join us on the stream, you're going to have to wait in a little bit of a line, because the Patreon subscribers, they do get first dibs into joining us on for tonight. So definitely want to make sure if you take advantage of that if you have not done so already. But also the store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. 3 days left to save 20% on everything. We have everything fully in stock, all the regular classic logo gear, the Tylander gear, the draw season gear. Everything is in stock right now. You get 20% off in the next 3 days. Just click on the redeem button at the top of the page, and that is over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, there we go. Check it out. All right, we are back with Bargain Bin Special of the Night and Best Bets right after we hear from our great daily sponsors, our friends at Boston Hemp. All right, Boston Hemp Inc. Make sure you check them out. And again, with all products on the site, you can get 20% off all orders by using the promo code ICEGUYS over at bostonhempinc.com. All right, it is time for our Bargain Bin Special of the night. And I can't believe I missed this in the recap. We didn't even mention it. Another great winner for Alex B. Smith. One half of his Bargain Bin Special of the night came through. Vince Dunn for the Seattle Kraken. He got it done for us last night, plus 600 to plus 650 in that range for him to score a goal. And also shout out to Brett Skalski, our Monday guest, who had Charlie Coyle for the Boston Bruins as his bargain bin special of the night. So great stuff there. 2 bargain bins come through for us last night. Alex, what have you got for an encore here tonight?
Yeah, heading just right down the street here at XL Energy Center. You got Carolina taking on Minnesota. The Hurricane I'm looking at moving up the line. I think he could give some sparking energy. Teuvo Teravainen, you can get him plus 330, just falling in the range. You have to shop around. He is, for the most part, a bargain bin candidate at a lot of places, but I see the highest price being plus 330 at FanDuel. Give me Teravainen anytime goal for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. That should be a fun one against the Minnesota Wild.
All right, there we go. Teuvo. It's Teuvo time. Teuvo Teravainen for the Carolina Hurricanes for Alex B. Smith with his best bet for this Tuesday night NHL card. And again, make sure you shop around. That's important. You can have multiple books if you're going to join us on a lot of these player prop bets, because there is a wide variance in price. One book to the next, you can get as high as plus 330 here with Teuvo Teravainen. So make sure you shop around for that. Matt, what have you got for your bargain bin tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to go out to Denver for the Colorado-Dallas game. Obviously, the game that I'm most excited for. I'm going to go with a guy that he hasn't scored in his last 5 games, but he's still tied for second as far as defensive scoring. Give me Thomas Harley anytime goal scorer tonight. I think there's going to be a lot of action. Why not Harley? So Thomas Harley, anytime goal scorer.
All right, Thomas Harley at plus 650 at PointsBet. Heck of a price there for that. That is what Matt will go with as far as a bargain bin special of the night for this great Tuesday card. All right, my best bet for this, or my bargain bin special tonight for this Tuesday card, I'm rocking with it. I know maybe it's a kind of a concern. He had a hat trick in the last game, but he's got it firing right now. On that second line, Sheldon Keefe made the change. Tyler Bertuzzi for the Toronto Maple Leafs. You're not going to get this price forever. If he flips the switch that I think he might have with that game against Colorado, there's clearly chemistry there with him, Max Domi, and William Nylander together. They've got something going. The chemistry was off the charts. They had Colorado hemmed in. Most times they were on the ice. They made it happen offensively. They not only got the chances, they converted on them. Tyler Bertuzzi, plus 320 at FanDuel for my bargain bin special of the night for this Tuesday slate. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Going to that same game of Toronto and Vegas, give me the first period over 1.5. You can get it minus $1.35 at Caesars. I think we see some good pace and good action here in this contest. We know Toronto's offense has been rocking and rolling. Vegas needs to get some momentum going as well. I expect goals here early and often. So give me the Golden Knights and the Maple Leafs. First period over 1.5, minus 135. My Tuesday best bet.
All right, Vegas, Toronto. That's 8-2, by the way, to the first period over for Vegas in their last 10 games coming into this one. Vegas, Toronto, first period over. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. Matt, what do you got? Best bet.
I'm going to take it back to the Dallas, Colorado game, and I'm going to take the first period over as well in that game. I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this game. I think there will be a lot of pace. Both teams have good forwards that can score, good defensemen that can score. So, yeah, Dallas, Colorado, first period over tonight.
All right, there it is. Dallas, Colorado, first period over for the Keno man. Matt Robinson here, over a 1.5, minus 140 first period. Stars and Avs. My best bet for this Tuesday slate, man. It's a lot of great bets, a lot of great things to choose from here in this game. But I'm going to stick to the script here of what's been working. And that for me is this Arizona team. I almost went with the Coyote because I really like the Coyotes tonight. They have been facing a murderer's row schedule, and they finally stepped down in class tonight. But the one thing that's been a consistent with them is they've given up goals. Doesn't matter who's been in net. Doesn't matter what the defensive combos have been. They've given up goals. But also Montreal's given up goals lately as well. So I'm going to go with Arizona, Montreal over 6, minus 115. I was surprised this total was 6. I get it. Clayton Keller's out, but to me, that total's too low for what we're seeing defensively from those two teams. Arizona, Montreal over 6, minus 115. They might be playing for exercise, but they're playing for my money tonight as well. Arizona, Montreal over 6 for my best bet. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. Appreciate it very much. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. And yes, we will be back in a few hours. Second period over, as Matt says in the chat. Let's go. The entire Ice Guys community that is with us in the chat on YouTube or on the stream at the time. We're getting in on this. And we're going to cash this.
Everybody in the pool.
Everybody get in there. $2, $200, doesn't matter. Everyone get involved with some kind of bet there as we go for 18 second period overs in a row with the Dallas Stars tonight. For Alex B. Smith and Matt Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we'll see you in 3 hours' time for the Ice Guys live betcast, courtesy of us here at the Ice Guys.